What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Alright, we're gonna keep this quick, simple, and I don't know. We're just gonna keep this quick because I didn't really gather my thoughts. Well, I kind of did. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did gather my thoughts. Let me speak on what's going on, my perspective, what's going on in Canada in terms of the hip hop scene. What is the current state based on this reset, and how other things are proving it. So right now, Canada industry has reset, at least the hip hop scene, in a way, right? If you don't know anything about the Canadian hip hop scene, I'll just tell you straight up right now, it is completely based on Toronto. All right. Yeah, I guess folks care about Montreal, folks care about Vancouver a bit, but really no one cares about anyone else other than the artists coming out of Toronto. And realistically, our population ain't that large, so the folks who care about folks coming out of Toronto is really not that many people. And then when you look at the wider, United States and United Kingdom and rest of the world, they don't really care about our artists either, unless they're doing well in the United States. So for a little while, probably for maybe 6 months or so, especially when Academics was streaming and connecting with Toronto artists, it looked like, okay, maybe there could be a natural interest developing on the Canadian scene about our hip hop and what's gonna happen next and who could be next and all that great stuff. But I think people just realized, content wise, depth wise, of what's being presented in terms of mainstream Canadian hip hop, the artists that are getting shine from the blogs and such. They're just not giving a full rounded picture of what hip hop's really about, right? So interesting conversation. It's truly reset, because you could look right now in terms of the undercurrent of hip hop in the United States, what the knowledge side. If you're a really true hip hop head, you understand that there's pillars for hip hop. There's elements that make up hip hop. It's not just oh, I want to do hip hop. There's b-boying or dancing or whatever. There's graffiti art, and there's MCing, which is rapping. There's DJing, obviously, and producing, that side. But there's the knowledge side. So the knowledge side right now is tapping back into the roots, the actual story, what happened in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, before the 80s and 90s, and what we see now as hip hop. And interesting, because you're seeing more of the foundational Black Americans and the ADOS, American or African descendants of slavery. Yeah, so you're seeing those groups forming and kind of pushing the correction of the narrative, which they're saying is that hip hop is not really Jamaican influenced like that in terms of the pioneering forces, which is debatable. I don't know if I'm really gonna get into those points today. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the point of this video. I could make another one and kind of focus on my full opinion about that. But hip hop definitely involved Jamaicans. You can say whatever you want, but history's already there. Come on. Everybody puts Biggie in their top 5. Biggie's Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? Kool Herc is Jamaican. His parties got the thing popping off. He didn't start the culture, obviously, but you know what I mean? His parties was the platform that kind of, his formula of what he was bringing together to create the kind of parties he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So, and, more, there's way more. Bambaataa is Jamaican and Bajan. You're gonna get a headache trying to talk about something that's clear. anyways, let's get to. All right, this is a real point. See, like, we're going to the States, like our artists, they're going to the States and they're thinking that they can just go to the States and like hit the studio, connect with some producers and do a couple features and like they'll blow up. And all they're doing is like in a sense just stunting on other artists in Toronto. See, because there is no respect in Toronto for Toronto. Like if there was, um, artists would ensure they worked with like everybody in the ends, everybody in the city, everybody in the country before they would run to United States to try and get fame. See, because what happens is it's like a shortcut because you're not running to just the United States. It's not like they're just running to go and be like in Louisiana or like go be in Connecticut or somewhere random, like Oklahoma or something. Like no, they're going to LA, they're going to New York, they're going to Atlanta, right? So maybe sometimes Vegas or Nashville, depending on the other genres or whatever. But they're going straight to the sweet spots, to the hot spots, looking for immediate fame. And Americans don't even do that. Like, if you listen to folks from New York, they complain that they don't really get shine. That people who like come into their cities are quicker to blow up. People, the same thing in Atlanta. Folks who grow up, born in Atlanta, complain that like other folks come from Chicago or whatever and blow up faster in Atlanta. Same thing for LA, but I guess not so much because you still gotta be connected to the streets in LA to really go far in hip hop. But generally, you know what I mean, the bags are dropped for artists who are just hot in their area and then go to the hot spots. So if you're not like crazy hot in your area in terms of Toronto, meaning you can't just be hot in Toronto, you gotta be hot in all of Canada because Toronto is the Hollywood of Canada. So you gotta be hot where you're at, where you're from. And a lot of these guys who are hot in Toronto aren't even hot on their own blocks. Like their own blocks don't rate them. Their own blocks have issues with them. So they're actually not even popping in all of Canada because they don't have support from their home base. They kind of have like a general street support. So it's real, but it's not. It's almost fake. You know what I'm saying? And then the ones who actually do have pure street support from their home base aren't the best. Let's keep it a buck. They're not the ones who are like the best. They're just the loudest and the most rambunctious ones. So they're entertaining and such. So it's a complex right now. So now when I guess executives and labels and just the general hip hop heads in the States are like, what's bopping in Toronto? They listen and they look and they're like, whatever, I might as well keep listening to what's out here. Alright? Stories aren't more interesting than what they go through, so they're not gonna be like, damn, that's a crazy story. And then, like I said, we go to the States and expect to just blow up, but we don't have Canada already wrapped around our finger when we do so. Because Drake, at least, he did that. He made sure, Weekend, Tory, those guys made sure they had Canada wrapped around their finger. Plus, Drake and Tory have, like, boroughs in the States that they can, in a sense, call home. Like, Tory did live in the United States for a bit. And Drake's dad's American, so there's places that they can connect to and say, yeah, that's my base, outside of just running to Atlanta or running to New York or running to LA. So, right, like, I think we don't take those small nuances into account. So right now, our industry is reset, bro. Like, I'm seeing everybody basically looking and bopping off like how Shock Claire and all those guys were bopping off. All those guys had the look and sounded great and were amazing, getting your love in terms of radio stations out here in Toronto. But No one in the States cared about them, right? Like very few of their songs ever got American attention, right? Even Cardinal, our biggest guy, struggled in the States, right? So that shows you how special Drake was and what the model in terms of repeating, right? Because Tory repeated that model and what we were supposed to continue doing. And I don't know, I guess we got so caught up on the street stuff that we thought that that's our lane. Our lane is to be street guys. No, our lane is to be artists. Is to be hipsters. Is to be creative. Like Tory wins because he's eclectic. Drake wins because he sings. We don't win as Canadians because we're gangster. But it is what it is. The streets has to understand the finesse of the finesse of the Canadian hip hop game. You know what I'm saying? Like, streets do what you gotta do, but like let the hipsters run what we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to sound like. It's not you guys. You guys is just the money, because it's always the streets that run the music industry. It doesn't even matter if it's country. It's the streets that run it. But depending on the art form and your position and what you're supposed to bring to the game is how you gotta brand it. We've been so dumb thinking that the gangster act is really what Canadians are bringing to the hip hop conversation. Like, the most gangster mans in Canada are Hells Angels. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, if it's the most gangster black guys, it's still the Yardmans. And then, what we're gonna say, Canadian dancehall? Like, Canadian dancehall doesn't get ratings in Jamaica like that either. Because it's a nuanced conversation, guys. It's not like black and white like that. To do well in Jamaica, you gotta be in Jamaica. You can't be in Canada. Everyone will tell you that. Anyone who's trying to do Jamaican music will tell you that you gotta go to Jamaica to do well in Jamaica. And you gotta go to the States to do well in the States. But don't think you're just gonna go to the States and just do well. Even if you're signed, even if you got signed, don't think that. It would make more sense for you to just go to a small city or somewhere random in the States and then say you're living there now and you're gonna start grinding from there and develop your hype in that little small city in the States. Earn your stripes in that little small city in the States until everyone there says, hey, you should go to LA, and then you go and you pick up and move. Now with the cosigns of that radio station in that city, the the support of the streets and everybody from that city before you run to LA and run to New York. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to the States to provide a service. You guys aren't producers or engineers running out there to say, hey, let me intern and provide a service and be of value from day one. You have no value when you have no hype. You're going out there begging, and that means you guys have to go drop a bag, and you're just trying to stunt on the rest of the city, and no one's gonna love you when you come back, because unless you're gonna be the next Tory, you failed. Remember how loved young Tory was when he was doing everything he was doing, and then as soon as he fell off, is he still loved? No one loves him. No one's like, oh my gosh, I need to get a young Tory verse. I need to get a young Tory hook. So guys, wake up. Stop repeating the same mistakes. And I love young Tory's music. He's sick, but I'm just telling you guys because I've made mistakes too as an artist, but I can fall back on my other skills. So I'm not really worried about what I do as an artist. I can experiment, I can have fun, I can reset, I could jump in, jump out, because I do other things. But a lot of you guys, the only hustle you have in this music game is your artistry. So I'm trying to show you guys, like, stop coming at it so superficially. Stop coming at the game so superficially and start understanding it's a business and there's levels. And our industry's reset, the money, all this money that you guys think you have, and that's gonna help you invest. You guys aren't even really ready to, half you guys aren't even really ready to properly invest. And then the ones who are investing their money is really not gonna compete. Like, the reset just freaked things up, guys. You could have $1 million right now, it doesn't matter. There's mans with quadrillions. So when it comes to ad revenue and they're ending cookies. All right, let me just tell you this: the whole internet's changing. Half of the ways that we would be able to finesse and promote and get things viral are gonna disappear. They're taking away cookies. Google is taking away their cookies. They're taking away levels of things that help the little man get big. Because the big man is so big right now, he won. He figured it out. He got everybody to buy the stupid vaccines, and they made their money. I was trying not to mention none of that stuff, but whatever. They made their money, right? So it's like, hey, bro, like, it is what it is. You guys gotta step your games up now. It's different levels of chess, different boards and games of chess, Monopoly, and checkers, and they're happening simultaneously. You guys was just like, oh, you guys is out there playing checkers when we're playing chess. No, this is multiple games of chess, checkers, and Monopoly, snakes and ladders, hungry hippos, all happening simultaneously, and you guys is just looking for it to be a simple chess game. Wake up. Anyways, guys, that's all I want to say. I'm gonna go eat my patty.